and then you have MAGA. It shouldn't be that way, as we know. But the thing is, we're not listening to each other, and that's the issue. You mentioned something about the rioting. 100%, the looting, unacceptable. It's illegal. But what's happening is the abuse that they have been taking is illegal, right? And so they're saying my rights and the law is not protecting me, so why should I abide by yours? In a sense, the nation is pretty much reaping what they sow. And it's breaking my heart to see this. At the end of the day, I would like to see direction in this movement. I love the opportunity to speak with leadership and the church having a voice. We all know Dr. King and his movement, and we talk about it constantly, and you touched on it, but it was a corporate anointing that moved that movement. What's going to have to happen is the church is going to have to be responsible for shepherding the people. And the relationship has to be open with leadership. These kids are angry, and they're not sure exactly what to do with that anger, and actually even what the end game may be, other than they want to be heard and they want justice, and they want it today. However, the leaders here need to unite. And I'm not just saying Bishop Jackson, who is always on the front line, right? The pastors that are here. I'm talking about all of the pastors that have big platforms need to stand up and need to be visible, because we'll follow. It's great to have, and I'm gonna be quiet in a second. It's great to have these big pastors and their inspiring words on their posts, right? Facebook and Instagram. But the people that really need to hear it, to be honest with you, they're not actually following their page. So at the end of the day, we need the church present, not just Al Sharpton. We need the church present. And we need to know that the church and state are in line. Because at the end of the day, our allegiance as the church is to God and to his people. And so the division comes with the church is, if you are not serving the people, you have a problem with the church. Right. Because that's our job, right? So we need, as the youth, we need that movement of God. We need to know that we have power in the spiritual realm. We need to know that. So we have to be unified in doing that, because people are lost. The grounds are here for that. This is a revival. This is time for a revival. They're hungry for it. Right. But we have to stand up and unite. We have to. So thank you.
Thank you, Damon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Damon.
And
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for that, sir. We, as we facilitate, and Damon, thank you for your remarks. As we facilitate the meeting and as we move along, we want to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity to speak. And so if we can be mindful, of that time and take a couple minutes to give your remarks and then to move to the next guest, that would be very, very helpful so that everyone can get an opportunity, because we want to hear from all that are involved. So thank you. Thank you, David. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Earl Etienne, and I'm first and foremost a son of God. I am a father. In my professional life, I'm the Director of Graduate Programs and Industry Partnerships and a tenured professor at Howard University here in our nation's capital. And it's definitely a privilege to have the opportunity to extend comments in this situation. We could spend the entirety talking about a lot of stuff and talking about who did what wrong, right? But these are times that require leadership. And for a leader, first and foremost, to really get following, he must first have the heart. If leaders don't get the heart of the people, we would be unable to truly move things forward. So I'll begin there first and foremost. Secondly, anyone can riot, anyone can be upset, but we have to approach this from a position of love. We have to be able to love the individuals who have been mistreated or maltreated for an extended period of time. And if we are unable to put ourselves in their shoes, then we would not be able to lead them from a position of less. We hear the terms all the time, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Many of these guys don't have boots. So they can't pull themselves up by the bootstraps. We need to be real, okay? The soul of what's taking place didn't just happen last night. It's been a persistent process over years and generations. And we have an opportunity today to bring about bold solutions. I'm at an HBCU. Make HBCUs funded at twice time its operating budgets, okay? We understand that in HBCUs, we are able to take people from poverty to wealth very quickly, and we bat ahead of our class. Make those school centers of excellence. Start here in the nation's capital with Howard University. Fund it. Set clear goals for entrepreneurship to come out from these ideas, right? And ensure that we're getting true resources in place. We need to have open, clear, honest conversations. Sometimes take the lights off and let's just go at it, right? But we have to understand each other, but understand each other from a position of love. Awesome. And I will stop there, but thank you for the opportunity to really contribute, and I am open, willing, and able to contribute in more ways than one, and this should not be just a conversation for today. It should be an ongoing process.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Etten, and great words. Howard University is one of our great HBCUs. And the president just reflected this morning about we were proud to make funding for our HBCUs permanent. But when you talk about the youth, like Damien did, with such great passion and sincerity, and you speak about the role of education, we really, this is I've worked for more than a generation on the principle that we ought to be allowing inner city families to be able to choose where their children go to school, whether it's public or private or parochial. And we've actually doubled the DC school choice program nearby in Washington, DC. And as we talk about the youth, we talk about education, I want you to know, we want fresh ideas about how we can improve the education for our minority kids, to give them the opportunity to be able to rise up and prosper in this economy.
Can I add one thing real fast?
Go ahead.
10 seconds.
Then maybe we'll bounce over here. We'll
Okay.
just bounce back and forth.
He's got some ideas about how to strategically invest in HBCUs that will be helpful. We don't have time to go into the details now, but it may be that we need to make a few of them really world-class and do that one by one instead of taking limited resources and maybe spread them too far apart. So I'm sure he'll write up more about it. Thank you.
Great. I'd really welcome that.
Thank you so
They're
much.
great institutions, and we love Howard University. What a great school. They're fortunate to have you. You want to bounce over here?
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure to be here, sir, and thank you for having us. First, Mr. Vice President, my name is Derek McCoy, and I've been working with, came from this place right here, Hope Christian Church, and but at the same time, we have been able to work with pastors around the country and been able to have a voice in some real key issues, I believe, that are affecting the country. So all of that being said, being asked this simple question about, what can you take away? There's a couple of points that I just said, let me write down so that I'm very clear as best I can be. I've been reading the letter from the Birmingham jail recently. One of the excerpts, and I think which is indicative of where we are today, is just a small piece right at the small little sentence at the beginning of that letter that basically talks about there comes a time when the cup of endurance begins to run low. And where people are, I think, is just at the place around the country that their endurance is running low because we go after it again. We go after it again. And who's to say while we're sitting here, another incident doesn't happen. And all of a sudden it happens again. And so that's what begins to mitigate that endurance for a lot of people in terms of, I want to see change. I absolutely applaud the efforts of the Opportunity Zones. I applaud the efforts of the administration and where you have been to date, and even the criminal justice reform, which so many people don't even understand or know about. I try to be an advocate to help them understand these are the advancements that have been made. At the same time, being a dad and being a father of two boys, similar to the age of Ahmaud Arbery, who was running in the street, and you start to understand, I have to have conversations, and we've had to have conversations over these last several years, and in these last season especially, about the truth of you can't go everywhere. Don't go running around by yourself. Make sure you check in and make sure that you come home, son. Because as a dad, I'm concerned to make sure they come home. And at times, knowing my own history of being in the South where my dad was raised, and I would sit down there and having to run from pickup trucks because they would just jump out. And my cousin would just say, run. And as fast as we could run is as fast as we could be safe. And so I understand that. But I've chosen, by the grace of God, to try not to grow up with the lens of bitterness and unforgiveness. These glasses are representative of lenses that we look through to change our vision. And I think for the church, we have to be agents that help people change their vision and perspective about the grace, the love of God, and everything about it. But really change and exchange this, and I'll try and be short, but exchange our ethnicity for our Christianity. And I don't say that lightly. And I know some people will be in an uproar about that. But if you understand, it's really important for kids to feel safe, our sons to come home, our families to be safe. I think when you're looking at the standards that are around broadly around our country, maybe it's time for a criminal justice reform 2.0. And I know it's a tough thing. And I know it's a lot of effort to go into the first one. But when you start looking at how can we standardize policies around the training efforts with these law
Xin chào mọi
enforcement
người, chúng ta
efforts
đang nghe
and
cái
these
buổi
individuals so that
gặp gỡ của
there's
Tổng
not
thống,
mistakes that
Phó Tổng thống
happen
Joe Biden,
so
Phó Tổng
abruptly.
thống
The challenge
Mike
with the
Pence
George Floyd
với lại một
is
số
that,
những
as one governmental
nhà
leader
lãnh
just
đạo
said,
cộng đồng
there are multiple
và
cases
các
like
lãnh
this
đạo tôn
happening
giáo, nhưng mà
right
chúng ta
now.
có thể thấy ở đây là
And
đa
one
số là các
governor said, hey, look,
à,
I got a half a
vị
dozen of
ở
these cases easy that I
trong cộng
I gotta
đồng da
think
đen
about.
đang
And
gặp
it's not
gỡ với
just the
Tổng
George
Phó Tổng
Floyd,
thống.
and it's not just the Michael Brown, it's not just, the other people who
Họ
have
đang
this
trình
tragic
bày
out.
những cái tâm
It's
tư
the
của họ liên quan tới
repetition of that. So maybe it's a way that
những
there
cái
can be some federalized standards in our
tình
training system,
dẫn
federalized
tới cái tình hình
standards
hiện nay.
in the way we bring people in
Có
to
thể thấy đây là một cái
process them
nỗ lực
through
để
the
mà cho thấy
through the
chính
recruitment
phủ
process and then the background
lắng
checks
nghe
and then
những tiếng nói
understanding
của
how do we know where they
người
are
dân,
after
của
that.
đặc
So
biệt của cộng
I
đồng
know
người
it's a lot to
da
say.
đen
There's a
thông qua
lot of
những cái
conversations. I've
người lãnh
talked to
đạo
several
của
pastors before even
cộng đồng
coming
của
here.
họ,
But it's
từ
just
lãnh
one of
đạo
those things, they're concerned,
tôn giáo
and
cho
they
tới
want to make
lãnh đạo cộng
sure,
đồng.
and this is just an honest thing, sir, there has to be a way that even, if I was with the president
Có
himself,
lẽ
I would say the same thing.
cuộc gặp gỡ nó sẽ kéo
We
dài,
gotta take a
nên chúng
step
ta
back.
sẽ tạm ngưng ở đây
My mother told me this a long time
và
ago. It's not what you say,
chuyển
it's how
sang
you
những
say it.
cái
And sometimes we got to take a
những
step
cái
back and figure out how we say
buổi
things and the tone of where it comes
xuất hiện
from.
khác. Hiện nay
And
đang
I think right
có
now
khá
we're
nhiều
in a
những cái buổi
place
xuất hiện
where
khác để
America is listening
có thể tường thuật.
and we have to have the right tone.
Xin
And
chào
if
mọi
we get
người
it wrong
và chúng
one
ta
time,
sẽ
so what?
tiếp tục qua
Change
những
it.
buổi
Fix it.
tường
Try
thuật
and
khác
figure
ngay
it
bây giờ.
out so that we can have the tuning of the ear to
Có
the
một
people that need
buổi
to
là
hear some
do
of these
ông
things that are desperately going on in our
mà
communities. So,
cựu Phó Tổng thống Joe Biden cũng như là
Thank you.
hiện nay là ứng cử
Wonderful
viên
insights.
của đảng Dân
Those two
Chủ
boys
vào
are
chức vụ Tổng thống vào tháng 11
awful
tới đây.
blessed to have you as a dad.
Ông cũng đang có một cái buổi
Really,
live hiện nay.
really
Ngoài
appreciate
ra
you.
cũng có cái buổi
Your
của
thoughtful comments, Darren. We really do.
Thống đốc bang New York cũng đang
Why
hiện
don't
nay
we
đang live.
swing around this way and we'll just please introduce yourself and we welcome your thoughts.
Giờ đây thì đang trong một cái vòng đầu tiên, cái vòng gọi là giới thiệu của những người tham dự, và họ nói một số những cái quan tâm của họ. Sau đó có lẽ là tới cái phần mà gọi là trao đổi, thảo luận vân vân. Ta sẽ tạm chấm dứt cái live này ở chỗ này.
There was training on paper, but not actual training.